Welcome. I'm happy you're here. This show is meant for everyone. Whether you are a newcomer to my films and works, a seasoned viewer, a rising filmmaker, or an experienced filmmaker, and everything in between and outside of all of that. You can check out more of my films and my work at limitlessfilms.com. Hi, I'm Barry Worthington. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. Either way, that's okay. I am a filmmaker, a director and writer and actor, and I do all kinds of other film work as well. I have some really exciting news that I can't wait to share with you, so I'm going to do that now. I have written my first feature-length script that I will be turning into my first feature-length film. I've written feature-length scripts in the past, but this will be the first one I wrote that I'm actually finally turning into one of my films, and it's going to be my first feature-length film. This represents a little over a year's worth of work, trying to find time and making time in between my jobs, raising my family, and other stuff going on in my life. As of right now, this script is about 123 pages. I don't know if the final product will be 123 minutes, because that's just, that's just a little over 2 hours long. I don't know if the final film will end up being that long. And frankly, if it gets down to an hour and a half, I'll be happy, but it might end up being just a little bit longer than that, but we'll see. It feels like the zillionth draft of this, but this one, this feels the most solid and probably pretty close to what the final film will end up being. There's probably, just because this is natural when you're making films, there probably might be some changes that we make from script to screen. There might even be some changes, day of when we're filming that we might come up with. But nonetheless, this is the most solid that I think it's going to be, at least on the page. All right, let me get up again. I'm very, very thankful to everyone who helped make this possible. I think you know who you are. Thank you very, very much. I don't want to tell you too much about the film, and I don't want to spoil too much, but I thought I'd make this because I thought it'd be neat to share some of the stuff about the film that I'm really excited to tell you. And I also thought it'd be helpful to let you in a little bit on my thought process and a little bit of my work process. So something I could tell you is that writing that was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Writing a script is hard. Making a film is hard. And if you've ever done it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I love it. And it's what I want to do with my life. This is not the first feature-length script I've ever written. I've written several in the past, for all kinds of different reasons. I never turned them into feature-length films. So now with this one. So the way this one actually kind of started was it had been 10 years that I've been working on this other feature-length screenplay that just was not really coming together in a way that I was happy enough with it to turn it into a feature-length film. But it got to a point, after at least 10 years working on this, it got to a point where I needed to just walk away from it. Not necessarily permanently, but I needed to walk away from it. So I wanted to just start from scratch on something completely new in a completely different genre. Something I've always been kind of interested in is urban legends and stories like that. In some ways, it's kind of helped influence a little bit of my filmmaking and my creativity. So I was thinking about how I kind of want to make a film dealing with that sort of thing. So then I started thinking about how sometimes I feel there is a relationship between urban legends and urban exploration. Which, if you don't know what that is, that's essentially the exploration of essentially abandoned places. I was thinking a little bit about its presence on social media. And social media has kind of changed over time. I think that's all I want to talk about for now. So some other aspects about the film that I can talk about. What I can tell you about it is that as of now, it's, some of the ways in which I would categorize it, if I had to categorize it. First and foremost, when I think about genres for my films, I think I've said this before, I always think of them as dramas first and foremost, and there's a couple of reasons why. One of the reasons is that, most of the time, character is so important to me, and drama is so critical to character, that I always think about how the characters need to be the foundation, and their journeys need to be the foundation of the plot, and the essence of what the movie will end up kind of being about. And so I always think of drama and the characters and the connection that I want them to have with the audience, or at least that I'm aiming for them to have with the audience. I always think of that as the foundation, so I think of my films as a drama first. Even sometimes my comedies, I think of them that way too. So, okay, drama is sort of the foundation. I'd say it's a thriller. I'd say it's even a little bit of an adventure film. And there still might be a few things I don't want to tell you because I don't want to spoil the whole film for you. What I'd like to tell you about is some of the challenges with the film. So for one thing, the film actually doesn't have that many locations, which I think will help make the film be very doable. I intend to generally try my best to use resources at my disposal for the whole thing, including locations, although I might need to find different locations than literally ones that I reside in or possess or anything like that. But the really tricky thing is that the whole movie is kind of dependent on a really big location that I can just kind of foresee it might be kind of hard to get it, especially because there's going to be all kinds of stuff going on that, when I'm trying to coordinate with a location, obviously I will be letting them, I will make them aware of, what the plans are. So the good news is that so much of the film just takes place in a few locations, especially this one really big location. The tricky thing is that making that one location work is probably not going to be the easiest thing in the world, but we'll see. So I have some plans for how I think I'll be going about doing that. One of the reasons for me, at least, writing a feature-length film is so hard is because I have made something like 11 of my own short films since I founded my own production company. So there's always been kind of a freedom when I'm making a short film because, as far as like the duration goes, like there's not necessarily like a set duration that a short film must be. The only expectation is that, to sort of technically be called a short film, it has to be shorter than 90 minutes, 90 pages. And even that, I think there's some leeway with. I can think of several pretty significant films, even in our culture, that were not 90 minutes long. They were actually a little bit less than that, but we generally accept them as feature-length films. So it seems like there's some leeway with that, and that's okay. That's great. A lot of film stuff in general is not necessarily written in stone. So because of that, it's been nice, when I'm making a short film that, there is no necessary duration that it has to last. There's no limit as far, because most of the time they've never even come close to getting to an hour and a half. I think the longest short film I ever made was The Infinitely Generous Francis Victus, and that was 30 minutes. There were at least 2 short films I made when I was still in high school that I made outside of my classwork, at least if I remember right, that if you were to combine their lengths, one was somewhere around something like 20 or 30 minutes, and the other was somewhere around 50 to 60 minutes, an hour long, something like that. One was kind of a sequel to the other, and I made one I made in my junior year, and the second one I made in my senior year. If you were to combine them, if you were to combine the duration of them, it would equal something like a feature-length film. But otherwise, I've never made a feature-length film before. So anyway, to technically be a feature-length film, there is a certain duration that you kind of have to hit, which it's very hard for me, to do that because, now there's this expectation, I don't know if I would, call it like a box that I all of a sudden have to now fit into. I mean, for goodness sakes, my production company is called Limitless Films, but, for lack of a better way to describe it right now, I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of all right, now I have to sort of, fit my ideas and fit my approach into, the sort of frame here. So I don't really like having to think inside the box, but I don't think you necessarily have to look at it that way. Because something I learned a little bit in school, but I really had to kind of teach myself about was the importance of story structure and the importance of the 3-act structure. And without understanding that, it was extremely hard for me to cross the finish line to have a feature-length film. And that was something I struggled with the other feature-length film I've been writing for 10 years, was I never really cared about story structure. I never cared about the 3-act structure while I was writing that whole thing. And I think it has something to do with why I struggled with it for so long. It wasn't until I really wanted to study all that on my own, not having anything to do with school,
that I started to kind of appreciate it. And, a lot of this guidance about story structure and the 3-act structure and what have you, none of that's written in stone. It's all there for you to mess around with. But anyway, writing a feature-length screenplay, just writing it, is really, really hard for me. I think I'm getting better at it. And I look forward, because I look forward to doing it more. This next advice, I've given it before, but I'll definitely bring it up again now. Whether you are just getting into screenwriting and filmmaking for the first time, or you have experience and just need a refresher, or you just need help, I think these books might be worth checking out. So, Story by Robert McKee, Save the Cat by Blake Snyder, Save the Cat Strikes Back by Blake Snyder. And this next one is not about screenwriting per se, but I think it can apply to screenwriting and filmmaking and just being creative. And that is On Writing by Stephen King. I really, really like that book. A lot of what you talked about really helped me in my approach to doing this kind of thing, especially his whole bit about putting the desk in the corner. That really helped me change my approach to everything, and I'm really thankful for that. It really helped me out. I get no kickback or anything, by the way, by bringing all that up. Those are just my personal recommendations to you. Okay, I think that'll do it. I hope you got a lot out of this. I hope it was cool to learn and hear from me about it. I can't wait to share this film with you all. I can't wait to start making it. I'm going to be trying to get started on all that very, very soon. So, all right, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your support. I'll see you later. Bye for now.